Lizzy Evo, thank you so much for coming on the Grapple Theory podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. It seems like it's been, like we said sort of before recording, it seems like it's been a long time in the making, this appearance on the Grapple Theory podcast.
I remember when we chatted about it like a while ago, and it didn't get to happen, and I was gutted about it, so we're finally doing it.
Absolutely. It'll be worth the wait as well. It'll be worth the wait.
Oh, definitely.
But
yeah,
again, like we also said off camera, we've got plenty to talk about because we sort of started by, sort of recapping everyone's year recently because it's, coming up to the end of the year. It's just over a year since wrestling came back. It seems like a good time to do it. And I think it's fair to say it's been a pretty hectic year for you, right?
Oh, yeah, it's been nuts. I've done, so much. I remember a couple of days ago, I took my journal out and I read some of the stuff that I've done this year and I was like, oh, that's actually mad because this time last year I never have thought them things would have happened, wrestling Mickie James for one. So, yeah, it's been a wild year.
I was going to say, you look back at those moments. That's obviously one of the matches I had down to ask you about is Mickie James. Ali Catch as well in GCW.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look back at coming back from lockdown, as well, like the whole program you had with Alexxis Falcon in TNT as well. When you look at coming back from lockdown, do you really see it as like, I guess it seems like you really started climbing the ladder after that. Like that's when sort of like the country, more than just like the local scene for you in Liverpool, sort of sat up and took notice and been like, hey, like Lizzy's got something real special here.
No, thank you. I think for me it was the whole appearance and confidence and things like that. So with COVID, I really had a minute to sit down and, take some things in, change a lot about myself that I didn't like, that I didn't think was helping me progress. So yeah, once I made some changes and realised, only I can do these things by myself. That was when I feel like people started to be like, yeah, I'm not going away now, so pay attention.
Yeah, you're here to stay and you're absolutely killing it. I mean, you've had a fantastic year. You had a fantastic year last year as well. I mean,
Thank you.
I think that all just sort of bodes well for this year. I imagine that's something you just want to keep doing, just keep having these killer years year on year. I mean, we're looking ahead to 2023 now. And I mean, it seems like you've sort of like scaled almost to like the top of the scene right now. I mean, like how much more is there for you to do? I imagine a little more gold around the waist wouldn't go amiss.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've seen a few at once. I've got my eyeballs on. So, I want to be so... For a while, I just wanted to be at a certain place, and I felt like until I was there, I wouldn't be happy. But the last year or the last 2 years have showed me, if anything, the whole journey is the goal, really. So you have to take the small wins as well as the big wins. So the whole time of like all the independents, every time I do them, I would wish to be at WWE or I'd wish to be somewhere big. And now, like, I've experienced all. I'm like, yeah, I'm happy to just keep going in the direction that I'm going in now because I've never felt more happier in myself or more happier when I'm in the ring. Like, even watching matches back, I'm happier in myself. Like, this year, because I've realised like this journey is just wild and can go any way.
Yeah, for sure.
Just keep pushing in the same direction that I have been for the past 2 years because it's done me well. I've been wrestling for 10 years, but the past 2 have been the highlight of it all. And the Defiant run that I had, they're the main errors in wrestling for me that I feel I want to continue like pushing on with. I've got goals that I want to set and stuff like that. So yeah.
For sure. And that's great to hear. And we talk about like, other places you've been thriving. Obviously, it seemed like you were really even before lockdown, but coming back from lockdown, you were that sort of staple in like the northern scene. But coming back from it now, getting these like shows that like Progress more regularly and Eve more regularly, things like that. That's got to be really cool as well to be, again, sort of like expanding your range like, across the country, not just keeping it in the north.
Oh, yeah, because I remember watching all Eve's stuff when I first started training, and they would have big names, big personalities, big characters, and I knew that like that was the goal for women in wrestling to wrestle for Eve. And once that I finally, got that chance to work at Eve, I knew that I wasn't gonna I'm glad that I got it when I got it and not before, because I didn't know myself. I didn't know what character I was, but now I know what direction I want to go in. I know who I am. I feel like Eve is just perfect to be at, especially for a regular booking. And the locker room as well. Like, you would think, because growing up, girls were always bitchy and shit like that. But Eve is one of the most professional and friendliest locker rooms, considering it's just all females. Like, it's just all women just ruling and supporting each other. That's the goal that women should be at. If that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. I mean, we've had like a few of the Eve regulars on, and like that's something I want to talk about, because obviously this will go out after Wrestle Queendom, so we can't build to Wrestle Queendom, unfortunately. But we have a lot of people talk about how it's how it's just essentially it's just like you said, it's women bigging up women, and it's like giving each other that push. There's none of that like sort of pettiness, or like people have mentioned in the past like it could have been that, but it's not that anymore. And it's just everyone supporting each other, wanting to make the scene better, and wanting to like give women's wrestling again that platform to really shine.
Yeah, because for so long, a lot of people would be, scared of their spot, or, think that someone would come in and take their matches, basically. But it's not like that. Like, there's room for everyone to grow. Everyone is different. Everyone brings something different. That's why, like, I always try and be me, and I never try and be a replica of someone or a copy of someone. Every idea I have to try and come up with myself, because that's how, if you want to inspire other people, that's how you do it. You just be yourself. So I like that, because then that leaves opportunity for every single other person to come in and have their chance to show what they do as well.
Yeah, for sure. So how did Eve come about then? Because again, this is something that we love to talk to people about, just because Dan Reed is the sort of person that like will book you once he has the faith that you're going to do the job. Like, he knows what he wants from his wrestlers, and he knows how to like push them to get them on the shows, to get them to be like the best they can be. So how did it all come about? Like, did you get in touch with Dan, or did he get in touch with you?
I think I got in touch with Dan, actually. Yeah, I think Charlie Morgan and Jetta, I want to say, helped out massively. Which they'll probably say they didn't, but I know that they did. Them little good words that people put in for you don't go and miss. So, yeah, I remember reaching out to Dan, because Charlie pulled me. She was like, "You should message Dan." And I was like, "Oh, okay then." Because at the time it was, so when I first started working for Eve, it was during the NXT UK stuff. So I didn't want to take too many independent bookings, just in case that I wasn't available coming up to the date, or I just didn't want to be unreliable. So sometimes I didn't reach out to certain people because of that reason. But I did. I just took it by chance. I just messaged Dan. I was like, Charlie said I should message, blah blah blah, and then I sent him some matches. He watched them, obviously, and then I was booked, and then I was a regular. So
nice one. Great choice, Dan. Like, great choice. We love seeing you, Eve. It's brilliant. And you mentioned NXT UK there. We don't talk about things like WWE here on the podcast generally, because we sort of stick to the indies. The one thing I am curious to know, though, is because of who is at NXT, in terms of the fact it's people you've wrestled on the indies, like, did it feel different for you, like stepping into that environment, into the ring, despite the fact that you probably come up against these people on like other indie shows? Like, did it feel different to an indie show?
Yeah, because you just feel, I don't know, it's just a feeling of like, you absolutely cannot mess this up. Like with the indies, I am so relaxed, and it's just, I love it. I can just be free, and I can do all that. And with WWE, because on the indies my character is so, like, I could just say a swear word by accident sometimes, and I'm like, oh. So that, for me, them things was big factors for wrestling them there, because I just knew that I couldn't do anything that my indie character could have done.
Yeah.
So that was the only difference really. But other than that, it was fine. The wrestling wise, it was good. You know, there was a lot of direction, and it was cool. But yeah, it was just me being me and accidentally slipping up one time. Like I didn't want anything like that. You know.
So sort of like Eliza Alexander is almost like a little toned back Lizzy Evo, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Just go down a few
little bit
rungs.
probably a little bit mouthier because there's no swear words, so I have to just say other things.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I love that though. I love that. And that sort of brings us nicely into our first little feature here. It's called What's in a Name? And normally I ask people about the origins of their names. But with you, I want to ask, how does it feel to have, I guess, one of the most contentious names in British wrestling? Because no one can seem to know how to pronounce it. Is it Lizzy Evo or is it Lizzy Evo? Because like I've heard it so many different ways. I know you've clarified it multiple times, but people still seem to say it both ways.
So I think it's just one of them, right? People contradict themselves and they're like, did she say Evo or did she say Evo? And then they go with the completely wrong one because they're unsure. But yeah, I'm at that point now where I'm like, oh, you know, it is what it is now. People just think that it's that. So it's Lizzy Evo, Ev. I always try and be like Ev. Oh,
That's how I think of it. Like evolution is how I see it. Like, and that's how I remember it. Yeah.
But then a lot of people are like evolution and they're like Evo, and I'm like, because when people say that, or even on the entrance when some ring announcers have said it, I've been like, I've thought straight away of you remember that car game? What was it like? There was a car game, Pro Evo or Pro Evo or something like that. And that's all it reminded me of. So I'd be doing the entrance and I'd be thinking of this car game because of the way they just announced my name. And it was so annoying at first, but I'm kind of like used to it now.
Is it the sort of thing?
Sometimes I'll snatch the mic and I'll be like, no, it's Evo, but
is it the sort of thing that like you didn't even give a second thought to when coming up with that last name, and then like people start to get it wrong, and you're like, oh, this is a problem. Like I didn't realize this at first.
And it was too late to back out now, so I was like, I'm just gonna have to try and tell people what it is when they say it. And I'm like, I just wish I would have just went with something flipping different.
Well, I wanted to ask as well. So, what was the change? Because you started as Lizzy Styles, didn't you? So, why the change of like last name? When did you sort of like evolve into that?
So the whole reason behind the Lizzy Styles name was I was 13 when I started training. I got through into a match I had to come up with a new name within like a few months. So I was a big, massive One Direction fan and loved Harry Styles. So a lot of people have been like, oh, do you get your name because you like AJ Styles? I'm like, nah, I like Harry Styles.
The other Styles.
But, yeah. So I think it was someone said to me a while ago, you know, you should probably think about changing your name because AJ Styles and also because they will happen to be a porn star with the name Lizzy Styles.
Oh, okay.
So every time I Googled myself to watch matches, I would just see this filth. So yeah, I just was like, yeah, I'm gonna change it. So the Evo was just really close to home. My nan got called Evo a lot. And then I got the tattoo of my hand holding my nan's hand. And so I just wanted to kind of carry the name on for my nan.
Lovely. So, that's so nice. That's super sweet. I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
And how would she feel about the fact that no one can pronounce it correctly?
She'd probably laugh her head off and call me stupid and be like, change that. But I'm not going to change it.
No, and you shouldn't. It's great. It's great. It's brilliant. And like it gives you that extra sort of like character dimension, doesn't it? Like you say when you get on the mic in the ring, if someone says it wrong and you can shout at them and be like, that's wrong. Like that's just that extra bit of like tension there.
It's close to me in that way. So yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Well, I mean, like back in the ring, again, like you say, we've had a mental year. We talk about Mickie James first, 1PW. I mean, talk to me about that whole experience, because not just a big match for yourself, but also it seemed like the whole return of 1PW seemed like this huge thing for British wrestling. That like before it got announced, people weren't even being like, "Oh, this could come back and it would be big." Like it just sort of happened, and it seemed really organic. Like how was it? Not just in the ring with Mickie, but in the ring for, like, with the crowd and like hearing that, and because it seemed to be just a fantastic show that the crowd was so up for.
Oh, so so when they first reached out to me, it was like, oh, me? Are you sure? Because I used to watch on PW when I started wrestling, and it was massive
Mm.
back when. So I used to watch old clips of it and see the crowd and the people that they had on, and so for them to be coming back this year and ask me to be part of that first one was an honour, just straight up.
Mm.
But the whole experience of like being in the ring with Mickie James was, so the promo that when she called me out was like, oh, this is real. This is actually going to happen. So when the day come, I was like a bag of nerves because I'm not normally like that, because I grew up watching Mickie James all the time on the telly. I went to watch a few live events and she was there. So like, it was just mad. Even thinking about it now, it was just crazy that it was me that got to have that experience. But yet the fans were loud, like really loud. And before the match, you were like, "You're a heel, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." Get in the ring and I'm getting Lizzy chants, and I'm like, why are these doing this to me now? I'm trying to be a heel against Mickie James. So that was quite fun. I had quite a few family members there to watch that, which was nice. I remember a few years ago I was at Doncaster Dome and I wrestled Tony Storm, but it wasn't as many people in there as that. It was a lot small, like a lot of smaller crowd. So to come back there and wrestle Mickie James with that many people as well, yeah, it was. I'm proper grateful that I got to do that.
Yeah, yeah, and we've spoken recently with a few guests about those sort of like pinch yourself moments in wrestling, and I want to get the sort of like your perspective, because again, like, you're meant to be this like real heel character. So as you're coming out, like when you're meant to be this character that people are meant to boo and they're all cheering you, and also in the ring you've got to like remain as this heel when you're standing across from Mickie James. Like, how do you keep that inner Lizzie in tow, being like, not being like, oh my god, that's Mickie James?
I know it was tough. It was tough. So when the footage came back out, I was trying to watch myself because it was the entrance that got me the most. So I came out first and just hearing the music play and watching it come out, doing the entrance that I always watch it do. It was mad. I wanted to cry. I don't know how I held it in, because even like, so I'm not a big like mark for wrestlers, and I'm past that point now. I'm not like that anymore. But I can appreciate when I'm facing someone that is a legend in wrestling for women, and has done everything that she's done. And who I grew up watching, like they're things that you don't really believe can happen to you, especially coming from where I come from on my estate. Like, you don't hear the things like that. So I had to take a minute back on an entrance and be like, appreciate it, but also remain Lizzy Evo.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's tricky. It's tricky. I understand that. I get that. Like, trying to keep that in check. And like, we've had a few other wrestlers talk about like their sort of pinch yourself moments being like that as well, being like, you want to sort of react as you, like, not kayfabe, but you got to keep it in check. You got to keep it kayfabe.
It's so tough. I take my hat off to anyone that can do it.
And again, like you say, you obviously booked on the first show, booked on the second show as well in Lincoln next year. That's a little way off, isn't it? But we'll talk about that as well, because that's triple threat, isn't it? You and Ruby Riot, Ruby Soho, and Session Moth, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I'll see. I knew with the Mickie James match that I had to prove a lot, because look at the women in wrestling now, especially over here. How many could have easily, been put in that position? So the fact that it was me, I knew that I had to prove that I could wrestle with Mickie James. I could like hang with Mickie James, I can't think. So when I found out that I was going to be back in February, and the match was going to be that match. Yeah, I knew that it just validated everything that I'd done for the past, few months leading up to wrestling Mickie and then wrestling her.
Yeah.
So that was special.
Yeah,
I'm really, really excited for 2023. Like really, really excited.
I was gonna say, is it that like sort of? We've spoken to a few wrestlers about this as well, but is it that sort of like almost like rewarding feeling of like being like you said, there are so many incredible like female wrestlers on the scene at the minute that could have been in that match, but like 1PW have come and said like we want you to be in this match. Like that must be a really like rewarding feeling of like, yeah, I'm doing something right here because they want me to be in this position.
It's rewarding, and it's. I remember Mickie saying at the show, she was like, "1PW is a big deal, right?" And people were like, "Yeah," and she was like, "Yeah, I remember it, and it was really hard to get on these shows back in the day." And that was when I was like, anyone could be here, and I'm gonna take advantage of every single opportunity that I get, especially with the 1PW platform. The way they advertise the talent and how professional they run things backstage and things like that. I've only been involved with one show, and I was really happy with everything. So I feel like that could grow to be really like a big success all over again. So I'm really, really honoured that it was me to take part in that.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing, isn't it? Because I think like when they came back, I think there were a lot of like mixed reactions because of their fact that it's meant to be like a British wrestling promotion, but they bring in a lot of imports. But you see it as the fact that like they're bringing in these imports, but it's British stars that are going up against them, and so they're the ones getting the rub. They're the ones getting the push that people who are in America or whatever, who might not watch a British show, but might watch it if Mickie James is on it or something. Will then watch that, and then you get that audience in, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right there. I didn't really think of it like that, but yeah. I feel like the whole idea behind that could be for that reason, showcasing that us British wrestlers are just as good, So it is nice to have them be brought over here and us be able to, show that for any of their fans that may follow and watch the product as well. That is a nice way of looking at it. Yeah.
No, for sure. And let's bring things closer to home for you, back to Liverpool, back to TNT. First of all, I mean, what's happened with Angel Hayes? What's gone on with you and Angel? What happened there? Like, I mean, obviously we're building up to Cold Day in Hell now. You're facing her, and that seems weird. That doesn't seem right. You shouldn't be facing her.
You know what? Right. I had an idea. Scottish people stick together. Like us Scousers would stick together. So I don't blame her whatsoever. But she's obviously gonna know what it feels like, because when you trust someone so much and then you do things like that, it's actually I'm just gonna slap it all over the place, really, to put it into perspective.
Oh yeah, I'd expect you to. I think it's like you say, she wasn't a true Liverbird, was she? She wasn't properly there.
A little side piece.
That's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic to see that. I mean, obviously, it was a shocking turn, and obviously, what does this mean that Lizzy Evo is a face now? What is this? Like, this doesn't seem right either. Like,
I know it's nuts, but I like a challenge, and all I've known for the past few years is that. So, that's the road that I wanna now take down with TNT. It's my home.
Yeah, and you mentioned that. You mentioned it being home. And talk to me about your run with the belt, because I want to get onto your feud with Alexxis as well, because that was fantastic. But again, with it being home, is it that extra little bit special holding the belt there when you held it? Like, does that mean a little bit more than, say, other promotions? Not that other promotions don't mean anything, but like, does it mean that little bit more that it's your hometown promotion?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I think anyone would say the same as me in that situation, because my first show for TNT was against Saturday Night, and just little Lizzie Styles trying to find a place, trying to find her feet, trying to find who she was.
Mm.
And, you know, Jay gave me that chance to kind of wrestle someone who was gonna make me think about them things.
Mm.
And ever since that day, Jay always helped me with TNT, direction wise. And, you know, when I was still a baby, before I had the heel turn at TNT, I was getting booed a lot as a babyface. And, you know, this was before I became who I am, like, became me. And I was like, what? I don't understand. Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, and then now I understand. But at the time, Jay was like, just go with it, just embrace it. You know, just do what you would do, and let that become who you are. And yeah, that's how that happened. That situation and with the belt and stuff was, I felt like for him to give me, because at the time I was still very young. So for him to give me the opportunity to hold that belt while he was booking all these other like unreal talent, it was, you know, this is my own time, and my family can now get to come and like see this. You know, and the storyline with Alexxis was just the way that TNT sold it and advertised it and was, you know, behind us. Women's wrestling needs that. Women's wrestling can do amazing and will be amazing if it is booked properly, you know, and that is exactly what TNT done with that feud. They booked it properly and they allowed a full story to be told through me and her, and that was special because I hadn't had, like, I did storylines before and I had key moments and little highlight packages made, but, you know, nothing made me feel like a proper wrestler until that feud. And that was when I kind of started to believe in myself and, you know, the confidence came along with all that.
For sure. That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, like, again, that feud was incredible. I think, like, last year we called it our feud of the year because it was just so good. It drew you in so much. And, like,
that's
that must
cool.
have been...
Thank you. That is really cool.
No, it was great. And, like, that's the thing. I think, like, it just showed that you guys have that, like, that chemistry, that ability to tell the story. And, like, could you feel that in terms of during the whole build and then up to that sort of, like, that final blow-off match? Did it feel like you were building something special between you and her?
I mean, I don't think you ever know at the time how special it is or could be until you look back and you're like, wow, that actually was. I feel like because it's me. I mean, if that was another feud, I'd be like, wow, that's sick. But because it was me, I didn't really look at it like that, and I wish I did at the time because now I look back, I'm like, that was so fucking good. How we told that whole story throughout them few months. And yeah, it was just dead cool. Just really, really dead special.
Yeah, and on the opposite of the spectrum, I know, like, obviously it's been talked about on a little bit on social media recently. We won't get into too much of the negative, but in terms of being a Scouse champion in catch pro wrestling, I mean, is that sort of like special in the opposite way to TNT, where you can like really rub it in the faces of people because of that rivalry that the Manchester and Liverpool have?
So with the TNT one, it was more, you know, I come from this place. I'm proud to hold this championship because, you know, although some of the TNT fans aren't really Scousers, it means I can represent where I'm from in that way, you know. So that was nice. But when Catch gave me the championship, and then they did the whole coronation at the show after, and they allowed me to come out with Jürgen Klopp behind me with the whole Liverpool music, me singing, and, you know, like, that was special in its own way because that was stuff that I had thought of and never, like, went to a promotion with it. I just always thought of it, and so it was nice to get all minds together. And, you know, the coronation wasn't my idea, and me coming out to sing "You Never Walk Alone" wasn't my idea. they were just things I'd thought of that were brought to me. So it was nice that people were thinking, how can Lizzy Evo do well at catch with the championship as a Scouser in Manchester? You know, that was like that was fun.
Yeah,
I really, really loved that. Yeah, that was like cool.
Yeah, it was. It was hilarious. I mean, you sold it so well, and like the reaction it got on socials was just brilliant. It's like, yes, this is like the perfect thing to do.
I was like, if I come out now and these don't do nothing about this, I will be fuming because I can't sing.
You're like, what more can you do, really? If that doesn't get a reaction, then you're basically screwed, right? Because
that's it. I said, I was like, I'll just go backstage and that's it. They're not even getting to see me wrestle.
But it is also, I mean, like, again, on the negative, it is a good chance to condemn any of, like, you know, the so-called fans who pull the bullshit that you sadly had to go through the other day at Catch. I mean, I'm really sorry about that, but it must be, on the upside, like, just the support you got on socials was incredible, and the support Catch got as well. And it must be nice that, as well, having experienced that, the promotion dealt with it so well, especially after everything wrestling's gone through over the last couple of years, the fact that the promoters dealt with it so quickly and so well. Is obviously a big up to them as well.
100%. I messaged Scott right away and I was like, thank you. After the show, and I did go over to him and I was like, thank you, because I came backstage from that match expecting, like, I'm not going to be lying, I'm going to be real now. That's something you do not cross the line with, and I do not care. I know some stupid football fans or chant stuff like that, but in my whole 10 years of wrestling, I have never in my life had someone mention anything to do with Hillsborough, ever. That's the first time. And for a minute, I just froze on the spot. I was like, did I just stay there, right? Because it was a woman.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like it would even happen.
I was like, oh, okay, so if she wants to make comments like that, I'll meet her outside after this show then. I didn't give a shit, because when you cross a line like that, and I've got friends who lost family in that, you know, one being the youngest supporter that died that day, so do not ever mention that to me or around me in that type of manner, ever in your life.
Yeah.
You know, I believe the lady that said it has reached out to a couple of people that were at the show, and she said sorry to them. Gail, you said it to me. She hasn't apologised to me. She hasn't, you know, it still infuriates me now because I didn't get to have my say with it, and I wish that I did, because she would have been told straight, you need to have some respect.
Yeah.
And you need to know that you can't. She thought that it was okay to say because I was a heel. She said, so the fact that you can joke about 97 fans losing their lives shows me what type of person you are.
Yeah.
So even if she apologised today or tomorrow, I'd tell her to shove it right up her ass, because you're not a decent human being to do shit like that.
No, absolutely.
You're just not.
Absolutely. No, well said. Well said. Yeah, and again, just really sorry you had to go through that. I mean, I can't even imagine what that's like. But again, it's you know, not spinning it back to the positive, but taking it back to the positive of Liverpool as a city, as a community. Like, I was born and raised in Brighton. I live in London now, but like Liverpool, like I travel for football and stuff like that as well. Liverpool is like the city in the country that I think most embodies that like community spirit for somewhere so big. For a place that's so big, to like where it still feels like that entire community is together and stands together, unless you're an Everton fan, like, you know, and it's a Merseyside derby day. But apart from that, it seems like the city is just like this whole big community where everyone is proud to be from there, is proud to represent Liverpool. And like again, it sort of goes back to what you're saying about like TNT. It's something about that real pride you have in the city and for yourselves as a community.
Yeah. It's a togetherness, and I feel like a tragedy like Hillsborough can make you feel like you're one big massive family, you know. And I feel like all Scousers are the same in a way. We're all different, but we're all the same, and we'll always like back each other. It's like we're just, I don't know, I can't explain it, but it's nice to to know that these people that you wouldn't even know personally that would help you out just because they are from the same city as you. Like, there's not many places like that. You know, a lot of people stick together, and a lot of people that I've grown up around, I've give people and shared things just because others haven't had it. And, you know, I've grew up rough, I've grew up seeing things that haven't been the easiest, and, you know, shit's been hard. So you see how people stick together as you're growing up, and that sets seeds and plants seeds for you to do the exact same thing. So yeah, I have a special place in my heart for being from Liverpool and being a Scouser, and there's nothing in this world that I think can ever top where I am from.
Yeah.
Like, you could put me on a beach in Australia, or you could put me in, and I would want to come back to Liverpool in 3 days, mark my words.
Harley Hudson said that as well when we had her. She was like, if Liverpool was sunny like all year round, then it'd just be the perfect, like, she would never leave.
Yeah, pretty much. She's right.
I love that. It's brilliant. It's brilliant to have that, and I love that. I love that about Liverpool. Liverpool's a fantastic city. I mean, I only get to go for football, but I always try and make a weekend of it if I go, because, you know, being from London, you're not going to go up to Liverpool and then come back the same night.
Yeah,
That's pointless, right? So it's always nice to
isn't
just see the atmosphere of the city, and it just seems like that sort of place, which is cool. I do like Liverpool. I like it a lot. I mean, back to the ring. We talked about a few rivalries. Again, we spoke about 1PW. That's a little while away. Something that's a little while away as well, but we'll talk about, because, you know, non-kayfabe. You talked about a very glowing, but back to kayfabe for a bit. I mean, talk to me about Charlie Morgan and your match with her at Wrestle Carnival in January, because that seems like it's going to be a bit of a war as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's why Wrestle Carnival made it a no disqualification match. Yeah, they were like, we see war, let's give them a bit more.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about some cool stuff that I'm gonna do to her. Yeah. So
yeah. I mean, that's the thing, because, like, Lizzy Evo, again, is sort of like almost in the ring, like, sort of zero fear kind of thing. Will do anything to win. But Charlie Morgan is very much like that as well. You see some of the stuff she does, like, and I think that's why it could be, like, such a good contest, is because you both seem like that sort of people that are, like, it's literally going to be, like, you'll do anything to get that win.
Yeah, it's going to be, I reckon the next day I'm going to be stiff and sore. So, I kind of want to make my own little weapon for it, to be honest. I kind of want to, I don't know, something like that a Scouser would do, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm working on it, but I do feel like it could be something really, really special in terms of the women's wrestling at Wrestle Carnival.
Oh, for sure. What you need to get on the phone to Jurgen Klopp, right? Get him to do a run-in with the steel chair.
I know. Or just have him take Jetta out for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that I know that no one's going to come back out.
What is your thoughts on Jurgen Klopp at the minute? Like, because obviously this will go out during the World Cup, so obviously we're free to talk about football a little bit because there's a bit of a break. So, what are your thoughts on Liverpool's season? Because it's not been the best. It's been surprisingly bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the beginning of the season we beat City, and everyone was like, "Yeah, we're back," and then we lost and kept on like drawing or losing. And I feel like since we sold Mane, the team went to shit. Mane was kind of like the glue that held us all together. And if you look back as well on all the key moments in like the last few seasons, it's always been Mane, like last minute goals or last minute assists. So that you can see where taking him away affected us massively. But yeah, I'm just hoping that we can get Darwin can find a connection and find his feet there, and help us out a little bit. But Salah looks like getting back on form, which is good. Yeah, and Bobby's looking sharp too. So hopefully, you know, once they all start finding their feet and getting the click together, then hopefully we'll be back to winning ways.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Top 4, you think, still?
I mean, I want to say top 4, yeah, because I'm not really much of a fan if I don't, am I? But If they don't sort their heads out, we're not going to get top 4.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like I'm a Brighton fan, and Brighton will finish above you at this rate. So
Yeah, exactly.
that'd be a bit embarrassing.
You're making me think too much about it, and I'm getting stressed out. Yeah,
that's fine. We'll take it back. We'll take it back to fun stuff. We'll take it back to fun stuff. We got a final feature here called Anatomy of a Pro Wrestler, and this is essentially just sort of like what makes you you kind of thing.
Okay.
Like just as a person, not as a wrestler as such. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and you just let me know what comes to mind.
Okay.
Cool. So the first one is my favorite pre-show meal.
It changes. It always changes. I'm gonna go with. It has to be a few hours before, but I'll have chicken and rice.
Nice, classic. Nice, I like it. I like it. Any sort of like way, like just not like I assume not like just plain chicken, but like.
Yeah, plain. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Fair enough. Yeah. Keep it simple. Yeah. You don't want anything too heavy.
I am a plain Jane.
Are you?
So my rice is plain. I barely have any sauce on anything at all.
Nothing.
I mean, like, so if I have a burger, I'll have mayonnaise and like, you know, my salad and stuff. I'll have some barbecue sauce with some chips if I have chips ever.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't really like tomato sauce. I don't like brown sauce.
I don't like brown sauce. Brown sauce is overrated.
I don't like the smell of it. It's horrible.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Well, this could be an interesting one then, because on the opposite end of the spectrum, it's your favourite post-pinfall pig out.
Oh. Anything and everything. I do love a pizza after wrestling.
Nice. Are we talking like proper pizza though, like you know, an actual like all sort of like Italian stone baked pizza? Or are we talking like Domino's or something?
Yeah, Domino's or Papa John's.
Nice. What do you get? What are your toppings?
I like a pepperoni.
Nice.
Or I'll get a mighty meaty.
Yeah, classics. Load it up. I love that.
Yeah.
Love that. The final food-based one is just your favourite type of food in general.
Italian. I like Italian food.
Nice. Pastas and pizzas, all that sort of stuff.
Pasta. I love pasta. I love carbonara.
Yeah.
Carbonara is probably my favourite food of all time.
Yeah, that's a great shout. Yeah, like loads of like ham in there or bacon or whatever you want. Yeah.
Stop it! You make me want one.
I think I'm having that for dinner like sometime this week. So I'll like.
I'm definitely gonna have it for dinner this week as well. Definitely.
Love it. The next one is the song that gets me the most hyped.
Oh, I have a couple. So I have the Tiger. I like listening to that one before I wrestle.
Nice.
And I like Unstoppable by Sia.
Nice. Two very different songs.
Yeah, completely different.
No, I like message. Good choices. Well, on a similar note, the next one is my favourite band of all time. Doesn't have to be a band, it can be like a solo artist or something, but like favourite music act of all time.
Jamie Webster.
Oh, really? Interesting choice.
I mean, because now that I'm older and I listen to some music that I used to like, I'm like, things change. You change all the time, and certain music that I listen to now, I'm like, that is not the words I want to be listening to anymore. So Jamie Webster sings a lot about things that are real life stuff, and you know, it's not. Yeah, I go deep with it when it comes to music, but Jamie Webster is my go-to every single day when I'm in the car or, you know, just doing some stuff around the house.
Nice. Yeah, I like it. I get what you mean though, like listening back to like not all bands, but like some bands you listen to and you're like, I can't believe I listened to that. Like more like in terms of like
the only one,
like the lyrical content more than anything. You're like, oh, that's
why was I singing that? No wonder I was getting all this shit brought to me.
I get that. Yeah. The next one is the best gig I've ever been to.
Oh. Probably Justin Bieber back when I was younger. I loved it. But then no. Can it be a wrestling gig?
What's a wrestling gig?
So I went to watch WWE went before I was a wrestler, and that was when I met Randy Orton, who was my favourite wrestler. So that would probably be my favourite gig.
I see, like a show. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say that. That's fine. Yeah, you got to meet Randy Orton. Like, that's got to be top, right?
Yeah. That was the best moment of my whole entire life.
And I'm sure Randy will be pleased. I'm sure it is for Randy as well. Like, looking back on it, Randy Orton's now going to be like, fucking hell, I met Lizzy Evo. Like,
He'd be like, I remember that kid, she wouldn't shut up.
love it. Brilliant. The next one is the movie that I'd show the locker room.
Ooh. These are good questions, you know.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Try to go a little in depth.
They're making me think.
Yeah. Got to keep you on your toes.
Yeah. Hold on.
So I always say it doesn't have to be like your favourite film, but just the film that you think everybody should see at some point in their life.
Armageddon.
That's a good film. That's a good shout.
I like Armageddon.
Yeah, that is a good film. Is that your favourite film though, or is it something else?
It is. It is my favourite film. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's a good choice. It's a classic choice as well.
Yeah, my dad used to love that film, and that was one that whenever it was on, I'd instantly put my phone down and ignore everyone till it was finished.
Oh, that's how you know you love a film, right? When you're not even looking at your phone, you're like, yeah, this is a film I want to see.
Invested.
Yeah.
And you learn something new every single time.
Yeah, you always see bits.
You wear something else.
Yeah.
It's cool, isn't it? I love that.
I always feel like really like stupid doing that. Like you see a bit that you haven't noticed before. You're like, how did I not notice that before?
Yeah. What was my brain thinking when that was going on?
No, I get it. I like that. That's a good choice. The next one is my favourite way to relax.
I like to read books.
Nice. What do you like to read?
So I've been reading this book called The Universe as Your Back, which is just like so the chapter I'm on now is dealing with anxiety in social settings.
Nice.
And it's really, really like it's helpful, you know. So stuff like that. Books that can advance my mind and, you know, just help me see life a little bit differently rather than the way, you know, I've been conditioned and brought up to be.
No, sure, I get that. A little bit of like a mind reset kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
I get it. I feel bad now. Like I'm really like jealous. Like that's really good. I read like Harry Potter and Star Wars.
No, I love that stuff. I love watching that stuff.
I'm like the opposite. I'm like, no, get away from the real stuff. I can't handle the real.
I'd rather not read.
Brilliant. The next one's a bit of a throwback because it's my first job.
Oh, I worked in a milkshake shop.
Oh, nice. Classic, like, sort of teenager job.
Yeah, I loved it. I remember my mum and dad coming one time on my first day, and I did them a milkshake. I wasn't really that good at doing them. And my dad said to me in front of the manager, he was like, because how I'd done it, I'd only done half.
Right.
Because I didn't know what I was doing. I was still learning as I was going. And he said, I'll come back for the other half later. And the manager just looked at me and I was like, I'm going to get sacked on my first day.
And then you go back and be like, you just got me sacked. What are you doing?
Yeah, I said to him, what are you playing at? What are you doing that for?
Just really putting you in it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that. Did you get freebies though? Did you get free milkshakes?
Yeah, but it wasn't good, you know. Every time I went in, lunchtime, milkshake, I'd be leaving with a milkshake, so that was like 2 a day, and it was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah, I can imagine, actually. But first job, that's a good first job, right? It's a decent first job, like fun enough sort of thing.
Yeah, it was fun. But it wasn't fun when all your mates from school are coming in, and that was probably the worst part about it. But yeah, it was you learn something new on every place that you work, I guess.
Exactly. Would they like give you hassle? Would they like order something really difficult that you then had to
No, yeah. And then you'd be like, put a little bit more in there. I can't get out.
Love it. Brilliant. The next one is sort of on the opposite end of the spectrum because it's if I wasn't a wrestler, I'd be
a lawyer.
Yeah?
Yeah, I wanted to do, I did a little bit at college after I left. I didn't do what I wanted to do when I, because I ended up going to Japan when I was 17 and then I just focused entirely on wrestling completely. So, yeah, I've been thinking recently about doing stuff like that, or I do interior designs as well as wrestling. So,
do you?
Yeah, it's quite. Yeah, I don't really speak about it that much, but I've been doing it for a couple of years now. So yeah, that's probably the road I would go down if I no longer wrestled.
That's cool. I like that. I like that. We need to get you on what's that show that Alan Carr hosts on like BBC or wherever it is? That like Interior Design Masters. You got to get on that.
I absolutely love watching that.
You got to get on that. That would be brilliant. But
Yeah,
like
imagine that. I would absolutely love that.
But go as like Lizzy Evo. Go like.
Yeah, I'll go in with wrestling gear and everything.
And then they'll be like, shit, it's scary. Like, fuck. Like, scared you, but then like, oh, she can design as well. This is brilliant.
She can do both. That's fine. Get it. Hopefully one day someone sees the talent that I have with interior designs and they're like, oh yeah, let's sweep it up.
Yeah. I mean, the advertising for it writes itself, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
The interior design wrestler.
I absolutely love anything that gives me creative reign with me, like just using my brain for creative ideas, and wrestling does that a lot. You can get so creative with wrestling, and then obviously interior design. Like I could go into someone's house tomorrow and look around and be like, oh yeah, I want to change that, I want to change that. Like my brain just goes ding 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 ding, and I start like in my mind I've created a whole new room. Like I don't know why, I just love doing stuff like that. I've always loved watching anything to do with homes and interiors and stuff like that. So
no, that's awesome. Yeah. I love that. I'm glad my background is on blur now. Otherwise, you'd see the mess that I've got in my apartment, and you'd be like, "Oh no, what is this? How is he living?" That's thankful. I'm thankful for that. All I got is a shelf and a massive guinea pig cage on the floor. It's not quite design worthy.
That's funny though.
Brilliant. I love that. I'll send you some pictures of my apartment. You can be like, oh, I changed this and this and this.
Oh yeah, that'll be definitely for you, no problem.
Easy. Love it. The next one is my favourite animal.
A cat.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I have both a dog and a cat, but a cat, I believe are really spiritual, really, like, little healers. I call my cat a little healer. She's a little cutie. Whenever I'm sad, she'll come and lie on my little chest and she'll purr on me and stuff like that. So, sorry, my mum's brought me a cup of tea.
That's fine.
Thank you so much, Mum. But yeah, I'd probably say my cat, 100%.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, that was a nice surprise for me as well, to be honest. Been looking forward to that. She said to me at 12 o'clock when I came back today, she was like, yeah, I'm making a nice cup of tea because I was freezing cold. Yes, 4:05, we got it.
There you go.
We got it.
Only took a little time. But you need it now, don't you? Again, like, it's sort of like, this year especially, it's like leaving as late as possible to put the heating on this year.
It's disgusting, isn't it? Like, our basic human rights, our basic human needs that we need to be warm. It's disgusting.
Doesn't matter to him.
I've got the comfiest pajamas that I bought from, and I think it was only like the Asda or somewhere like that, and they are the best. They're just so fluffy and like warm and cozy, and I have a hot water bottle in my quilt with me overnight. Nice. I'm always warm. I'm always hot.
Gotta keep it cozy.
Yeah, if I'm cold, I'm angry. I hate being cold. Hate it.
No, I get that. My partner's the same. Like, she's always like, her temperatures are crazy. Like, 1 minute she'll be super warm and then it should be. I'm like, what is your body like? What are you doing? Like, how do you regulate that? But she's the same. She likes to be all like warm and cozy as well. Summer's terrible. Summer's too warm.
Summer is too warm. But then again, I'm like, is it? Because then when we get this cold, I really wish that we got it. Then you're like, oh shit, I
wish it was summer.
Yeah. So let's be honest, we can't win, can we?
No, it's the perils of living in Britain at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly.
Can't be helped, can it? Well, it can be helped, just we can't help it.
Yeah.
Next one gets a little deep because it's my greatest fear.
Oh. See, I bet people would normally say like a spider or something, but like for me, my greatest fear is not knowing myself. Like, it might sound stupid, right? But a couple of years ago, I had no idea, not even from a wrestler's perspective, but from a human being. I had no idea who I was. Like, I was just going day by day, just doing routine stuff. And, you know, it was like a circle that I was in and I couldn't get out of it. And I feel like once I learned some things about myself and about life and the world, things just changed. So my biggest fear is, you know, not knowing who I am and not knowing, like, it's hard to explain or put into words, but I know exactly what I want to say. It's hard to say it. It's just.
No, I totally get it. Like where you're sort of like, you're like sort of almost like a who am I sort of thing. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, for so long it was like that, and then that leads to so like low vibrational moods, like constantly negative, constantly in a bitter state, and that was what my life was for like 5 years. And you know, the minute that you change just a small part about your routine or just the way you think or being aware of what you think is. I feel like that's what I am most proud of, is knowing me, like being aware of my thoughts, especially thoughts that are negative or thoughts that could bring harm to myself. Like if I instantly hear anything like that going on in my brain, I'm like, no, you shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I'm in control of my thoughts. You are just passing by. Like, so my biggest fear is, you know, stuff like that, not knowing myself and not being able to portray myself in the way that I want to be portrayed.
No, I get that. I get that totally. Like, I'm someone who's like battled with anxiety and stuff as well, and like it's that point, isn't it, where you sort of, instead of like trying to sort of make sure like the negative thoughts don't come back, it's just knowing how to fight them when they're there.
Yeah,
because you know
exactly.
they're going to come back at some point. It's just dealing with it like you say, being like, no, you're not going to let it take control, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, because the minute that you give it to them thoughts, it becomes a routine for them to take over.
Yeah, it's a spiral.
So then the minute that you stop them, it creates a routine for you to continue to stopping them. I mean, they never go away. Let's be realistic. In every situation that you get, you're always going to have a negative thought. But, you know, one positive one outweighs the negative by like so many. So, you know, we just have to be aware of stuff like that. And I feel like that's one thing that, you know, you have to remember.
Yeah.
In any walk of life.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And then, like, congratulations to you for breaking through that, like breaking through the cycle, because that's like, I know how difficult it can be, and like that
and it appears you have as well. And you know what? It's a big thing, and some people don't realize it, but it is. So you know, you should be proud of yourself as well, because it's a massive thing.
Yeah,
when you can finally get control of your own thoughts and you can think freely for yourself.
Yeah, I think it's finally getting to that stage where it seems like mental health sort of thing is like, you know, slowly becoming like more okay to talk about, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
people like accepting that, like, oh yeah, this is a thing that happens to everyone, and like, you can talk about it, which is cool.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. I think the biggest thing is knowing that you're not alone. And you know, when people say speak to people, I truly believe it's because you can come to figure out there are so many people that think the same thoughts as you and could be in the same situation as you, but scared to say it, but they just need someone to say it first.
Yeah.
So I feel like speaking up about problems, especially mental health, regardless of your gender, is a massive thing, you know, and everyone that does that should be proud of themselves.
For sure, absolutely. No, well said. Getting back to the questions, there's a few wrestling ones now. We're getting back into the wrestling stuff with these. This one's a two-parter because it's my favorite. Well, yeah, my favorite wrestling match ever, and I'm going to ask you for one you've had and one you've watched. And it doesn't need to be necessarily like the best match you've ever had, just your favorite, whether it's because it means something to you or because it was the best or anything like that. Okay,
so the best one I watched was Owen Hart vs Shawn Michaels. I can't remember what year it was. I've got it saved on my playlist on YouTube, so I'll have to find that out.
I want to say it's like 95 or something, or 96.
Yeah, it could
that
be.
Sounds about right, but I might be wrong there.
It could be, but Owen Hart was so good. He was one of my absolute favourites of all time. So any Owen Hart match really. One that I've been involved in is probably the 30 woman Iron Woman match with Alexxis Falcon, or the match I had with Alex Windsor for Eve.
Both great matches. Both great matches. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Like, you've had like just sort of like even then thinking about what you were going to say there. You've just had some incredible matches in your career, like so far.
I know.
Like,
I know, it's nuts. Like, a few came through my head, and it was hard to choose just two.
well, that's the problem, isn't it? That's you got to stop having great matches. You've got too many to choose from. The back catalogue's too big.
Can't keep up with myself these days.
Love it. The next one is I'm going to ask you in person, not on TV, because it's the loudest pop I've ever heard.
Can you say that again, Tony?
The loudest pop you've ever heard.
Ooh.
But not on TV, yeah. Like when you've actually been in the
in the same place. Probably quite tough, that, you know.
I imagine there's been a few.
Yeah. Robbie X. Can't remember what show it was, but there was a show when Robbie X won, and I was backstage, and it could have been Rev Pro actually, and I was about to wrestle Giselle, and I was backstage, and I was worrying because I'd never worked Rev Pro before, and I was like, "What's the crowd like?" And where the backstage was to where you made your entrance was quite a bit of a walk, and where I was sat, I heard the bell ring, and just absolute madness. So that's the one that probably sticks in me at the most. So yeah, Robbie X.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, good shout as well. Like if you're that far away from the ring, you can still hear it. Like then you know, then you're like, oh, something big's happened here.
Yeah, I've got to go and follow that now.
Like thanks, Robbie. Cheers for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. The next one's my favourite venue to wrestle in.
I like the Electric Ballroom for Progress.
Yeah, great venue.
Yeah, probably that one.
Yeah, that's a fantastic like wrestling venue. Like
yeah,
it's just like a really like beautiful venue in general, like for anything.
It just looks really nice as well, and on pictures really professional, and the way that they set it up, it's a nice venue. It makes me feel like a wrestler when I come out.
Yeah, I love the balcony up there as well. The balcony is fab.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good. Like watching wrestling from that view is brilliant.
Because you have full view of everything.
Yeah.
Literally everything.
No, good shout. Only a couple more left. The next one is, I feel like I know what you're going to say for this, but it's my favourite place in the world.
Liverpool.
Yeah, I thought that was coming. That's we've spoken about that. Yeah, I knew that was coming. That makes a lot of sense. Like it is a great place, and again, like it sort of like goes back to that community feel of it. It's like a family.
It's the home feeling.
Yeah,
I always said to my mum, I'll know where I want to live when I get that home feeling in another place that I get here, and everywhere that I've been, I've been a lot of places, and I've never had that feeling yet. So
yeah, I imagine it's like almost like sort of like I sort of get it still with Brighton. It's like you sort of like if you're driving, you pass the sign that's like "Welcome to Liverpool," and you're like, okay, now it's home.
And now I'm home. Now I can relax.
Yeah, like finally.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
And the thing is, for a Scouser going anywhere else, especially over here, people look at you like you're an alien. The minute that they hear you talk, they're like, I can hear Scouser. So it's like you're trying to be a mute in most places that you go. So like, not many people like Scouse accents. Not many at all. So yeah.
It is an acquired taste. Yeah, it's an acquired taste of an accent, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. You know what? I don't blame people, because when I listen to myself back, like I hate it. I hate when a promo gets posted to me. I think, oh, I don't want to watch this.
No, it's fine. Like it's a decent accent. Like I mean, like my favorite is Irish, but like Northern Irish. Like
I love Irish.
That's the best one in my mind. So like nothing tops that anyway. Or Aussie. I like the Aussie accent.
A man's Irish voice.
Oh no! See, for me it's a woman, so clearly that's just like a gender thing,
right?
But like,
yeah. I mean, when I used to spend a lot of time with Myla Grace,
Mm.
one of my good friends in wrestling. She has a gorgeous accent. I could just listen to her speak all day. It is such a nice accent to listen to.
But would she say the same about you?
Probably not. No, she'd probably say, "I wish Lizzy would shut the fuck up."
We'll have to get her on and ask. Myla, if you're listening to this, let us know. Let us know. Write in. Brilliant. And the final one is my dream holiday destination.
Bali.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bit of sun.
That's on the bucket list, 100%. And New York. New York at Christmas, could you imagine?
Yeah, to be like a little Home Alone situation.
Yeah. I would go alone just for that full effect.
Yeah, that'd be great. Don't be like beating up any robbers though in toy stores.
I mean, I can't promise anything, but
I mean, do if you see them, but just not in the toys. Don't go full Home Alone. That's all I'm saying. Just don't make it a movie parody. But it would be like New York at Christmas would be pretty special, I imagine. But like Bali's very different. That's the sun adventure holiday, right? Like,
I mean, Bali and possibly. I mean, when I went to Greece, it was really, really nice, but I never went to the nice part of Greece.
Right.
So Greece and Bali are the two main ones.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think like just sort of like anything like Asia wise is just like it's such a new world, like it's such a different world, isn't it? That like it's just so intriguing being over there.
Imagine what you would like learn and discover and see. Like, yeah, it's cool. It's a big world out there, isn't it?
Yeah, you just need the time and the money to go. That's the problem, isn't it?
Exactly.
Like me and my partner, we've got like all these lists of places we want to go on a holiday, and you're like, now all we need is the money to be able to go there.
We'll get there eventually.
Eventually. Brilliant. Well, Lizzy Evo, thank you so much for coming on the Grapple Theory podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I hope you've enjoyed it.
No, I've absolutely loved it. Thank you for being patient with me all this time.
Of course. I think it's been worth the wait. It's been worth the wait. It's been fantastic having you here. We always end each show by giving our guest one final bit of promo time. So we're coming to the end of the year now. So looking into 2023, you've already got one PW we know about. I'm sure you've got loads more on the calendar that we don't know about yet. But looking ahead, whether it's a Wrestle Carnival against Charlie Morgan or at 1PW against Ruby Soho and Session Moth or anything else you've got going on in 2023, why is Lizzy Evo going to steal the show?
You put me on a spot. You know, I've been wrestling for 10 years and a lot of people will constantly say to me, it's just a habit, you're just going to grow out of it. But, you know, the way I feel about what I do and when I go to these shows, I don't believe that anyone thinks the same way I feel. And I feel like that's what sets me apart from most people is the passion that I have towards wrestling, whether it be a small show, a big show, or, you know. So in 2023, I'm looking to debut at more places that I haven't even worked at yet, which is internationally. I have a few things planned, and I was only just getting started over here, but I feel like I have a lot that I want to do over in the States and internationally, just completely. So, yeah, my goal for 2023. I'm going to make Lizzy Evo's name as big as it can be.